Now back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Gaston's White River Resort, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Barton Power Sports.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray as we roll in our 16th year on the air. And, of course, second Saturday of the month means Ron Wall comes in to interpretate all the fishing information for me.
Good morning, everybody. Boy, it's a beautiful day here in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah,
unfortunately, I won't be able to enjoy it as I'm rolling to Lake Texoma
for the Bass Fest.
For the Bass Fest. And you know what? We had a great time this last week, Larry, out at the Pro-Ams for the FedEx St. Jude.
You're the chief cook, right?
No, I'm not. I am a helper for the Rendezvous.
But you are a chief cook.
And,
I thought that not chief. You're chef. You're chef.
No, I'm not a chef.
Yeah, you got a cook. You got a shirt on with your name on it.
I'm going to help them out, and it's always a lot of fun because I get a chance to meet a lot of great pro golfers.
Well, why not? You're giving them food.
Of course, food always counts, but then I get to talk to some that love to do what I like to do, and that is fishing.
Well, we got two guys on. They're in town this week for the St. Jude Golf Classic, which is a great event that I attend every year, and we have a lot of golf guys on the show. If you go through the PGA Golf Tour book, you'll be amazed how many of these guys love to hunt and fish. And I think we got a couple of guys with us this morning. We got a bonus here because we got two guys that love the outdoors, and they're both involved in the tournament. They're regular guys here that come and play every year, and that's Boo Weekley. Good morning, Boo.
Good morning.
Hey, buddy. The wind is blowing. I can tell that on you. And then we got Robert Garrigus. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, y'all.
All right, we got these two guys on, and I know that this tournament means a lot to both of them. And I know Ron has got a chance to meet Boo. And Boo, I've got to tell you, I have a Boo Weekley story. Do you mind?
Go ahead.
All right, I'm at the 12th hole at Southwind several years ago. I'm not telling you when it was, and I'm standing next to a couple, and this small lady. We've been kind of walking from the 11th to the 12th. And then as she moves on to the 13th, and I'm standing there, and she whispers in my ear, "I'm Boo Weekley's grandmother." Is that right?
Yes.
I mean, she
follows you, right?
Yeah. Is your grandma still living?
Yeah, she's still living, but she ain't doing real well. She's got Alzheimer's.
Oh,
I'm
man.
sorry to
Well,
hear
I
that.
mean, we just talked, and all of a sudden she whispers in my ear, and I've never had anybody whisper in my ear before, a woman. And she didn't want anybody to know who she was, and she whispers, "I'm Boo Weekley's grandmother." And I said, "Well, good for you, and everything." So that's my Boo Weekley story. But let's talk outdoors here and fishing. Boo, I know that when you look at your guide, and there's a lot of guys that play on the tour that love the outdoors. How did you get involved in the outdoors growing up in Florida?
I grew up on the river, so it was, and growing up on the river, you didn't get to stay inside. When we lived there, you had to be outside, and so you had to find something to do. So I took up fishing and hunting, at a young age, and just being able to go down there to the river and fish every day. And I think I was 9 years old when I got my first old wooden boat. That was my granddaddy's, and I used to go around there and scold myself around the river and catch fish.
So do you still get to do it? Do you have time? Your schedule's so busy and everything. You still try to spend a little time in the outdoors in the off season?
Oh yeah, I got two boys now that that I'm teaching. I got one that's 14 and one that's 7, and the oldest one I'm teaching right now a little bit about how to bass fish the river and currents, how the current's running, how the current ain't running. When the water's high, when the water's low.
Yeah.
When the water's, if we had rain, what to throw, something different. So, little things like that I grew up on the river doing, that I teach my boy, my oldest one, and my youngest one, I'm just trying to teach him how to brim fish right now.
Yeah.
Get excited about catching fish. That's the whole key, I think,
That's it.
them in there and you get them in there fishing, and as long as they're catching fish, they're going to have fun. They're going to enjoy it. They're going to love it. And they're going to fall in love with it, And as long as you keep them busy, it's the days that you don't catch nothing, the days that, they get discouraged and they're like, hey, man, I'd much rather be at home doing something else.
Well, that's why, today I will be at a junior fishing rodeo with about 300 kids, 6 through 12, and we put 1,500 pounds of catfish in this little lake. And to see a 6-year-old come out with a 4-pound catfish, they're going to go buy a license someday, I think. So that's the key. And Ron, what you got to ask?
Well, a question for both of you all. I don't own a golf club because I don't have the time to play golf because I fish all the time.
Yeah, Ron.
But both of you guys travel around the country. You fish. You play golf at some really wonderful courses that have a lot of water, and all of them probably have fish on them. Have you ever carried a fishing rod in your golf bag or behind your cart on some of these courses? And what is your favorite? And we'll start with you, Robert.
Well, I actually travel with fishing gear every week.
All right.
And many times it's been in my golf bag, and many times it's been on the back of the cart. There's a lot of good places, and Boo will attest to that. The Players' Championship is probably one, if not the best place to catch numbers in fish. But Tampa Bay, the Innisbrook course, doesn't really have much fish on it, but the Island Golf Course in Tampa Bay has probably got the biggest fish of the year by far.
Wow.
And I've fished it for the last 7-8 years, and I've caught plenty of fish over 9. I caught one over 10 last year.
Wow.
All right, Ron.
I mean, they're everywhere, and you can catch a lot of numbers in Houston. You can catch, not a lot of big fish, but Boo's fished them all. I've fished them all. It's just a lot of fun. You get your mind off of golf and stop thinking about it, and just go out and have some fun and try and rip some lips.
What about rip some lips? I love that.
I like it.
How about that, Boo?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's right. I mean, there's a lot of good places that we go every year. I'd have to say my favorite place is Puerto Rico because we don't to catch a whole lot of snook up there in the north end of the Panhandle.
Yeah. So there you go. Boo's going for the snooks, and Robert's going for the big ones, bass and everything like that. And I know I play all the local courses here in golf. Of course, I'm middle aged for a 146-year-old man, so you can figure that out. I have my favorite golf courses, and some of them don't want me to mention them. But I've been on tournaments locally, and all of a sudden I look up and Ron Wong is at the course and fishing off one of the piers. He doesn't even play golf. But again, we're talking to Boo Weekley and Robert Garrigus. Not only are they in town to play in the
FedEx St. Jude.
Yeah, the FedEx St. Jude Golf Classic, but they're also ambassadors for not only golf but the outdoors. And off the air, I mentioned to Robert, I got to ask him about it because I did not realize that Robert's. Tell us a little about your dad, Thomas, Robert, because I think this is a pretty neat story.
Yeah, my dad Tom, he when he was in the Air Force, he decided to start trap shooting, and he ended up making the Olympic team, and he lost to a German by 2 clays for the gold medal, but he ended up winning the silver. And then that was in 1968 in Mexico City, and he won the silver medal in trap shooting, and then went back in 72 and just missed out on the bronze medal by 2 or 3 clays, I believe. And then in 1996, he carried the torch in the Olympics in the Olympic ceremony, and then coached the Olympic trap shooting team. So he was a good shot.
He was a good shot. I mean, did you hear that, Boo? Did you know that you got an Olympic champion's son running around with you guys?
No, sir, I did not know that. That's awesome, Robert. That is awesome.
That's real awesome, Robert. What do you remember about how you got started in the outdoors? Well, your dad was he instrumental for you?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he'd let me skip school every winter and go deer hunting and elk hunting, and I don't think I had a tag, but he said if I saw one, I could shoot one, which is kind of funny. I never got to see one because he'd always kill it before.
He would. Well, because he's the shot man, right? You know everything.
Yeah, he never missed. I don't think I ever saw him miss once. So it was very impressive to just be around him and learn everything from him because, trap shooting's a lot like golf. It's one shot at a time. It's the focus for everything. I mean, I won 2 state championships when I was younger in trap shooting because of my father, and I just didn't want to follow in those footsteps because they were just a little too big for me. So I switched to golf for some reason. And the outdoors was instrumental in my life. I grew up in the mountains. A lot like Boo said, he grew up on a river. I grew up on a river as well, but I lived in a town that had 500 people, and all we did was hunt and fish. If we caught a fish, a trout or whatever, we'd take it home, we'd cook it and eat it. If we killed a deer, we chucked it in the freezer and skinned it and did all that good stuff, and we had the meat. So it was. I grew up in the outdoors, and being out here is kind of crazy. Just all the getting pampered every week and everything. Whenever I feel like I'm comfortable, I'm out in the woods in a tent and bow hunting or something. It's just it's kind of weird being out here sometimes, thinking that where I grew up, and I'm sure Boo can attest to the same thing. It's we get pampered a lot and we're spoiled out here, but I think our true home is in the mountains.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, out at Southwind, the lakes out there, they have a lot of small bass, and it's nothing to catch 8 or 10 in 8 or 10 minutes.
Yeah,
that's a lot of fun too, especially for the kiddos.
Yeah, and I know that it's amazing. So you grew up in 500. Did you? You didn't have a red light, probably, right? So
there was 0 red lights.
All right, now Boo, you grew up in the Panhandle of Florida, right? So. Yeah, so you're not from Baghdad. Let's at least clear that up, okay? You're not from Baghdad. You're from Milton, right?
I'm from Milton.
All right. Now, how big is Milton?
I think back when it's probably about 35,000.
Whoa! Did you hear that, Robert? He's a city boy, but I never thought of Boo as a city boy, and everything, So you guys, we close out here and let you get back to thinking about golf. Boo, give us your insight if some kid wants to be what you're doing, and maybe a little bit about getting them involved in the outdoors.
I mean, to do what we do, you got to be focused and dedicated to what you want. And it's kind of the same thing with fishing and hunting. If you want to learn to fish and hunt, you got to be a little dedicated to it, and believe in what you're doing and go out and enjoy it. The whole key is, my old man wasn't always around when I wanted to fish and hunt, so I went out and experienced it myself. But I lived on the river, so it was something easy for me to do. But I think if you have a kid that wants to go fish and hunt, their parents need to get them involved in it and, get them outside, let them see it. Even if they don't want to do it, give them, turn the kid over to a friend that likes to.
Yes.
I think that's what we need is more kids in the woods and more kids on the river fishing. And, I think this will make this country a lot better place.
Hey, guys, if somebody wants to follow you and your careers, what's the best way to do that? And we'll start with you, Robert.
I'm not on social media whatsoever.
All right, Robert's my man now. Okay, Robert's my man. Okay.
You have a website.
The PGA Tour app, and
there you go.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing. I kind of think all that other stuff is kind of junk. Just I didn't grow up with it, so it's no use to me.
Man, man from 500, a pound with 500. No, I love you.
That's great,
Robert. You just made a hit. All right, Boo, tell us. I know you're big into social media, buddy. You got a Twitter account and everything, right?
I do, but I don't do it.
But you have a website also.
I have all that stuff, but I set it up mostly because I do a big charity event.
You sure do.
Yeah,
I was going to get into that Boo Fest. It's coming up again this year, right?
Sir, 2000. Yeah, we got it July the 23rd. It's around my birthday, and we always set it up to where we raise money because I grew up in a military town.
Yes.
So we got to raise a lot of kids and the military for the wounded warriors and the vets and all that stuff because that's what keeps our town afloat is all the military. That's why we got so many people in there.
Well, that Boo Fest is July 22nd through 23rd at Pensacola Bay Center, right, Boo?
Sir.
That's
it. And there, they can go to boofest.com and they can pull it all up. They want to come and go see it. We got Tracy Bird, Tracy Lawrence, Dallas Davis.
Whoa. Okay.
We got all coming.
All right, sounds great. Guys, thank you for being on Outdoors with Larry Ray. A real privilege, and again, good luck in your careers, but at the same time, thank you for being ambassadors for the outdoors. We need more guys like y'all, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, let's take a break on Outdoors with Larry Ray. You won't get any better than that, I can tell you that. So we'll come right back, and now we're going to go to Reelfoot Lake. And I'm going to let Ron take control because he'll be my interpreter for Jackie Van Cleve on Outdoors with Larry Ray.
You can find